G'day, I'm Steve. Hi, I'm Steve, Woodworking Masterclass. Welcome to my workshop. This project is a very simple one, or it can be very challenging depending on how you want to approach it. And what it is making a chopping board. A chopping board, I hear you say. How simple can that be? Well, it's a wonderful idea to try it and improve your hand tool skills at the same time while make something useful that you can use around the house. That's the dimensions I want. Now I wanted it 450 long by about 330 wide. And what I'm going to use is 42 by 19, which you can buy from any hardware shop. But it's nice if you give it a little bit of a bit of pizzazz, if you like. Make sure you get some light and dark timber, and then you can variegate it. Now what you have to do is, okay, I want that 330 wide. I have to divide that by 19. Now if I do that with the trusty old calculator, we've got 330 divide 19, that comes out to about 17.63. The main thing I'm interested in is the 17. And what you want to do is have an odd number when you work out how many pieces. That way you'll have the same colour on the outside, whether you decide to have it light or dark. If you've got an odd number, that's the way it'll work out. If you've got an even number, you'll have one outside edge dark and one outside edge light. So with 17, what you do, divide that in half, which is obviously 8.5, but we don't work in halves, so it's going to be 8 and 9. Now if you choose to have dark timber on the outside of your board, make sure you've got 9 dark pieces. If you want it light, in that case, get 9 light pieces and 8 dark pieces. So whatever you want on the outside, that's the one you've got to have the most of. So I've got some creamy American oak and I've got some red Meranti. And if you can look down there, you'll see the medullary rays of the oak. That adds a nice little pattern and gives a nice little bit of design to your chopping board. Make sure also that you get rid of all these stickers that they do insist on putting on bits of timber that we want to use. That means so when you glue it together, it's going to stick to the other bit of timber, not stick to the sticker. Sometimes you can get it off if you put a bit of Caro on it, that removes it, or a nice sharp chisel will do the same job. Okay, now break it up so it's variegated. And what I mean by variegated is it's a dark one, a light one, a dark one, a light one. As I said, I want the outside of this board to be dark. Now, to make it a hand tool project and also a much easier project to do if you're going to do machining, it's a wonderful opportunity for you to practice picking the grain in the timber. So what we want to do is have the grain of the timber all running the same way. Now if you look sideways, I'm not sure if you can see this, but the grain on this bit of timber, the way you're looking at it is going from right to left. So I want all the grain of all the timbers going the same way. And you want the oak timber going the same way as the other timber. So again, with the oak, we want it going on screen from right to left. Now all the grain now is going from me to you. And it's a wonderful opportunity to hone your hand tool skills. What I want to do with this, because there's slight variations in the actual thickness of the timber, you can see there we've got about a mil variation, to plane it flat with a plane and then scrape it. If, however, you want to use it as just a woodworking project to make a chopping board, and you're going to use machinery and put it through a thicknesser, it's still a really good idea to have all the grain going in the right way, in the same direction. That way you're not going to get any tear out. There's nothing worse than having a wonderful job and one sticks the wrong way and you get a great big blemish coming through. So make sure all the grain's running the same way. Once it is, then just mix the sticks up. And even now, it's looking quite attractive. So the next thing we do is glue it all together. What you'll need is a couple of clamps. I'll use 3 clamps, but you could possibly get away with 2. And it's important you use a waterproof glue of some description, because it's going to get wet, and if it gets wiped down, if you're using a non-waterproof glue, well, you can find that the laminations will delaminate. So next thing is, got to get some glue. Clear the bench off. Get some of the trusty wax lunch wrap, and it's the cheapest lunch wrap you can buy of any of the supermarkets, and it's great because it saves your bench and glue doesn't stick to it. I always have it so the waxy side is actually pointing upwards when I'm gluing. Move the chopping board off to one side. Now what you want is, when we're going to glue, is we're going to glue the inside edge. So we won't be gluing both sides of this or both sides of that. A lot of glues say you only have to glue one surface, and that's most likely fine, it'll work. But for, I don't know, at least 25 years, I've always glued both surfaces. The reason being, sometimes, see if we can get a demonstration here. We'll put some glue on one surface. Now you can use a spreader if you like, you can use a brush, piece of veneer, bit of plastic. I like my fingers because I don't do the washing myself. And actually, if you look under my benches, you'll find at least about 30 years worth of glue. Okay, now that's glued. Now if we put it onto this piece and push down hard, in fact I'll put it in the vise just to put some pressure on it. On the other side, take that out of the vise. We'll open that up. That's pretty good glue coverage, but it didn't get any glue contact here. And there's a little area up the top here where we didn't quite get glue. So that's the reason I always double glue. I would much prefer to have to clean off excess glue than have a job fail because I didn't put enough on. So what we do to lay this out is basically you peel one piece off, put it next to the other, peel it off, put it the other. So when we put it together, we just do it in the reverse order. Might just have a little bit more paper there, I think. At $2 a roll, you can afford to waste it. Now this one, we're not going to fold it the same way as the others because that is the outside edge and we only want to glue the inside edge. So that one, just bring it over like that. Then put the glue on. In this case, I think I'll actually use a brush to spread the glue out. Don't forget your bucket under the bench. Clean your fingers off. Chuck the brush in there. Now start putting it together. What I do is glue each piece on as I go with an extra bit. It doesn't have to be as thick as what the first lot was, but see if you can get good coverage on it anyway. And you'll find a little bit of water on the brush doesn't hurt it, it just actually retards the drying time a little bit, which is sometimes a good thing, especially when you push for time. Gets to a certain height, starts to slip a little bit, so then we can lay it down, which I'll do with this one, I think. Looks like we're going to have a catastrophe on our hands. So just lay it down like that. I watch it with cheap brushes, you do get hairs coming out of them. But then again, you wouldn't use a good brush to glue up, would you? It can get quite messy, as you can see. But that's where the wax paper comes into its own. And this one, we've already got glue on it, so we don't have to put it on the other side. As I said, you've got to be reasonably quick with this gluing because the glue's starting to get tacky already. Just knock that down. Put one in the middle for luck. Feel along the bottom, pretty straight. Clamps a couple more little turns. And that's it. What you can do now, of course, is wipe off a lot of that excess glue. That'll save you doing it later on. The more glue you can get off at this stage, the easier it is at the finish. And if it's clamped up tight enough, don't worry about the water. It will dry. And as you can see just from that, it's starting to look like a really nice chopping board. What I'll do now, I'll take the paper off the back. All right, as you can see, that's the underside. And that's the top side. So when we actually start to finish it, what it means is we can just get into the planing and we won't be clogging our planes up or sandpaper up or thickness the blades up with glue because all the glue's gone. Now, there is a lot of glue on there. It is a very messy job and there's a lot of glue on there. I would leave this for 48 hours to make sure that everything's dry. And I'd leave it in the clamps for 48 hours. So, we'll see you in 2 days.